Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I have about 6 albums to go through for this one, and I'm just going to go through them, so let's go. We begin with Akathexis and their newest album, Immerse. This is not a band I was too familiar with or even really heard of. This is a sort of new kind of international supergroup black metal style band, and I will say this. No album this episode gets higher than a B+, and in fact 4 of the albums do get this being one of them. And you'll probably be able to guess the others when we get to that point. But this might be the highest B+ I'm giving this episode, because it's got really nice layering to it. I just love the instrumentation. I like how it tries to actually use the instrumentation and the atmosphere to tell the story rather than the lyrics. And the writing is good on the song front, but in terms of lyricism, it's a bit bleak and a little bit vague as well. You do really have to dig to try and find the main theme. And there's also only 4 songs. It manages to push itself to about 50-ish minutes. It is a long album for an album that's only got like 4 songs on it. But it does so much with that time and actually fills the space with some really nice things, you know? Well, I say nice. It fills it with the innovation that you'd usually expect from black metal. The performances really sell it as well. There's some really good emotion on display from the band. Just really good, straightforward black metal that actually tries to do something unique, and mostly does pull it off as well. I do think it falls short on a few hurdles, and also a lot of the songs are just really long. But my favourite song on the album is probably my favourite song of the past weekend, spoiler alert for that. And yeah, no, I still recommend it. Production-wise, it's really good too. It's got that nice sort of air of authenticity to it, while still being well-produced enough that it doesn't feel like it was just all raw stuff. But yeah, it's got that really good balance that makes it work. The bands really kill it, and just really good song ideas too, and mostly well executed ones at that. Next, we have the Black Crowes and their newest album, Happiness Bastards. I think this might be the oldest band on this list. It's one of the oldest bands I've ever covered. This is probably the most traditional rock band I've covered probably all year, if I'm being honest. And I'm giving it a C+. I do like the sort of southern influence that this one has, but I feel like it should have stuck to it a bit more. And I feel like a lot of the themes on the album just repeat the themes of the time, because this band formed in the 80s, and their first album, they didn't start releasing stuff until the early 90s, but the early 90s is basically the 80s anyway. I say this as a child of the early 90s. But yeah, it just felt a bit understated and a bit bland, I guess you could say. I don't know, it felt so repetitive and exactly what you would expect. So it's an album that tries to be exciting, and the band at least showcase a bit of charisma, but the lyrics don't really do much new. They just talk about, oh, women, sex with them, what's that like? And it's that trope that I've never really liked about the style of rock music that should have stayed in the past, if I'm being honest. I do like the riffs, for the most part. I think the production's quite nicely handled. I just think the pacing doesn't really do a whole lot interesting, and the lyrics are alright. And the band do feel like they're phoning it in, especially whoever the guitarist is. They do have some good solos, but it does feel like they're resting on their laurels a little bit, especially with the vocalists as well. It just feels a bit lazy, but not super duper lazy. It just feels like, we're an old ass band. This is the album you're going to get from a band like us in this day and age. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Next, we have Glory Girl 2950 and her debut album, Queen of the Land. Now, I know that technically it's a mixtape, but mixtapes are albums. Because what is a mixtape? I'll tell you. It is an album consisting of usually entirely original material. It's an album. That's how that shit works. At least I count it. Giving the less grade of the episode though, C-. And the reason we're giving it that is because who the fuck is Glory Girl 2950? I'll tell you a little bit. She's an Atlanta-based rapper, and this is her first ever release of anything. She might have released a couple of singles to promote this, I don't know. This one just recently came into my radar, and I added it to last weekend's. And I was like, who is this? What the hell is this person? And they've put out this full-length album with 14 songs. It's only half an hour long, which is weird itself. But she's bragging about all the money she's making and all, how she's a bad bitch and all the dudes she's having sex with and all the fuckboys she's not having sex with. And I'm just like, what the fuck have you done to earn this ego, Glory? What have you done? This is the first time anyone's hearing of you. Of all the albums I'm covering on this video, I think this one has the fewest listens on Spotify, which is not really a demographic I really give a shit about, but like, seriously, who the fuck is this? Why did a Pitchfork review lead me to this? Why do I ever trust Pitchfork? I should stop doing that. But yeah, just the lyrics are fucking dumb, and her performance, while she does have a good flow, I found her voice a bit grating to listen to, and her flow, while unique, felt a bit off kilter, and it felt like she was just half drunk for most of it. She didn't really sound that great. Also, this album is really, really badly hurt by the fact that there's only one fucking guest spot with a guy named Odd God, and that's the best song of the album because Odd God does half the song, and he sounds way better than Glory Girl does. And the pacing is so... It's not helped by the lack of instrumentation, like, it's just the same repetitive modern-day hip-hop beat, that, like, tinny-style drum machine that I fucking hate, and some synth work, I guess, if you can call it that. Production's actually not bad on the album. I will give it this. It's actually produced pretty well for what it is. But it's just really shite, and, well, okay, it's not entirely shite because, again, there is potential here, and Glory Girl does have potential. She's got some charisma to her, but not enough to carry an album like this. I think she needs to stop and reset and, take herself a bit more seriously, because this is just way too much bragging. There's not really any super duper serious songs, and, I like a fun album. And I feel like this album could have been fun, but it needed some major tone policing, and it just doesn't have that at all. Next we get to Necrophobic with their new album, In the Twilight Grey. Oh, I said that really nicely, didn't I? This is a sort of also blacky death metal sort of album. I think it's specifically called Blackened Death Metal, and I'm giving this one a B+ as well, and then we're getting to that point I alluded to earlier. All the other albums from this point on are B+. Yeah, really good metal. I quite liked a lot of the instrumentation, like the guitar work was really good, and I like the use of leitmotifs as well. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but you know what I'm on about. It uses those quite well, and I like it when an album does that because it makes it feel a bit more conceptualized. Which helps because, again, this sort of has the same problem that Acathexis' album did, where the songwriting in terms of instrumentation is great, but the lyrical theme is a bit bleak and a bit vague, and why am I doing this with my hands? I'm not a velociraptor. Although I wish I was, that'd be awesome. But despite that, the band do have a really good amount of believability to them. They put in some really good performances, especially the drummer. Guitar's really great, vocals are really nice as well. Bass is buried a bit in the mix, as you would expect from black metal, but, it's still mostly really well produced. And pacing-wise, it's nice as well. It does have some really good build-ups to the bigger moments. I do feel like, again, a bit like Acathexis' album, it does drag a slight bit, but it's still got some really good highlights to it, and it's just a really good bit of blackened death metal. It's got some heavy points, it's got some really good... It's got a really unique approach to it as well, which I think was executed really, really nicely, and I do think it's got really good performances and pretty good at every aspect. Next we have Schoolboy Q and his newest album, Blue Lips. So I've heard about Schoolboy Q before, and this is my first full album by him, and obviously I'm giving it a B+. Have you been paying attention? Yeah, giving it a B+. I thought this was a really good, really fun, really well-produced rap album, and I think Schoolboy Q is really good on it, and I think the other performances are really good as well. However, this album suffers a bit of the same problem that Glory Girl's album did, which is it doesn't really take itself all that seriously. I don't know what it is. I think it's because my favourite rap album this year is the new album by Ghetts, which, for the most part, is really serious, has really good politically conscious lyrics on it. And, that's what I like in my rap, because, it's fucking cool. And Schoolboy Q does not do that at all. But, much like I said with Glory Girl's album, I like it when a rap album is just really fun, and this album is just really fucking fun. Schoolboy Q is enjoying himself. He has pretty great chemistry with every guest star on this album, and there's a lot of them. It is a bit of a long one, there's like 18 songs and it clocks in over 50 minutes, and it can feel a bit excessive, which is my main issue with the album. It does do a little bit much, and at the same time doesn't do a lot with the songs it has. It could have easily cut out about a third of them, and I think it would have improved things, to be honest. But really fun, really nice production from all the fucking people involved, because it's rap production, there's always a lot of people involved, well, almost always. And yeah, just really enjoyable. Yeah, if you just want to sit back and vibe for like 50 minutes to some really fun rap, with lyrics mostly about like sex and, you know, how he's a bad. I was gonna say bad bitch, about how he's a badass and stuff like that. Yeah, he's, you know, ain't got no time for some fake ass bastards, shall we say. Uh, this is that kind of album. If you just want to sit and spin with it, this'll fill that niche. And finally, we have Sheer Mag with their newest album. I think their third, Playing Favorites. This is the sort of like punky-ish entry, I guess. But from what I know from looking up previous albums, they actually try and add other elements to their sound. On this one, they tried an indie rock and Heartland style thing. I'm giving it a B plus. I really enjoyed it. I think my main problem with it is that they didn't lean fully into the potential of what their style could have brought, and I feel like it can fall a bit short in some places. I do think from a writing standpoint, it's really good, although, again, you've really got to look up... It's kept vague as to what the themes are in the lyrics, because it's just introspective looks at the self, and I'm like, well, yeah, but could we get a bit more than that? We don't really have much in terms of, like, you know, actual some out of lyrical content to really sink our teeth into, which is weird because all the lyrics are on the Bandcamp page, and I couldn't really glean anything from themes, and it's just odd. But I did like the performances, especially the lead vocalist. She is really good. She's got a nice timbre to her voice, and she's got a lot of personality as well. I did enjoy the riffs as well. I thought the guitar might be one of the best things about the album, to be honest, and I do mostly like the writing, and I like the overall song flow. I do feel like a couple of songs cut themselves a bit short, though, which is weird because, again, with the Heartland element thrown into their usual, like, sort of punk rocky sort of style, it could have married it together a little bit better. I don't know. I feel like it was not really well capitalized on, and I get that there's, yeah, this is their first album in 5 years, but that also means that they had a bit more time to work on it, and I don't know, they just didn't, but still really good indie Heartland leaning style punk. And yeah, I'm glad I picked up on these guys because I've heard some fair buzz around them over the past few years, and I'm really glad I got to check them out. So yeah, still recommend it. Next is the official rankings system part, which as always everyone cares about. At the bottom is quite firmly Glory Girl 2950 with Queen of the Lands, Ain't Going to Nothing, earn the title. Then the Black Rose with Happiness Bastards, and then obviously with the last four all being B+, I do have to pick carefully. I'm gonna go with... Oh, it's difficult. I'm gonna go with Sheer Mag with Playing Favorites. Probably Necrophobic with... Now, Schoolboy Q with Blue Lips, Necrophobic within the Twilight Grey, Acathexis with Immerse, but, you know, as always, go and listen to all of these, formulate your own opinions, because that's what makes this shit interesting. As for favourite song, it definitely goes to A Slow Weary Wind from Immerse by Acathexis, as it's just a really nice sort of slow burn song, but it builds up really well. It's a great closer. Favorite cover, there's honestly a lot to choose from. I liked a lot of the covers that we got from the last weekend, but I'm giving it to Sheer Mag with Playing Favorites because of their band logo being like melted into a candle. I just kind of thought that was cool. I've never really seen a band do that before, so yeah, for uniqueness I'm giving it to them, although both Necrophobic and Acathexis also have great covers. But yeah, it's firmly Sheer Mag for me. That'll about do it for me. The next thing I'll see you for will be a reaction tomorrow. I think it's going to be Unleash the Archers, although I am going to do another one that'll probably be next Friday. But the main thing tomorrow is the Halfway Show, PPW versus APW. I was going to say Fight the Night for some reason. That's probably going to be this weekend, unless there's not a fight card this weekend. I don't remember. But I'll see you all tomorrow for something. I can't really guarantee you what. Maybe the stream. And yeah, that's about all I can think of. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.